Hi, I'm coming to you live from my kitchen, bringing you a reading of Siddhartha by Hermann Hesse. I really love this book because it is one of the first pieces of classical literature that I read, or it's considered to be a classic, that contains many spiritual truths which I resonate with. So I really wanted to share this with you. So in this part of the book, Siddhartha has done so much searching, and he's finally found himself at this place with the ferryman, who becomes his teacher. Did you, so he asked him at one time, did you too learn that secret from the river, that there is no time? Vasudeva's face was filled with a bright smile. Yes, Siddhartha, he spoke. It is this what you mean, isn't it? That the river is everywhere at once, at the source and at the mouth, at the waterfall, at the ferry, at the rapids, in the sea, in the mountains, everywhere at once, and that there is only the present time for it, not the shadow of the past, not the shadow of the future? This it is, said Siddhartha. And when I had learned it, I looked at my life, and it was also a river, and the boy Siddhartha was only separated from the man Siddhartha and from the old man Siddhartha by a shadow, not by something real. Also, Siddhartha's previous births were no past, and his death and his return to Brahma was no future. Nothing was, nothing will be, everything is, everything has existence and is present. Siddhartha spoke with ecstasy, deeply. This enlightenment had delighted him. Oh, was not all suffering time? Were not all forms of tormenting oneself and being afraid time? Was not everything hard, everything hostile in the world gone and overcome as soon as one had overcome time? As soon as time would have been put out of existence by one's thoughts? In ecstatic delight, he had spoken. But Vasudeva smiled at him brightly and nodded in confirmation. Silently he nodded, brushed his hand over Siddhartha's shoulder, turned back to his work. And once again, when the river had just increased its flow in the rainy season and made a powerful noise, then said Siddhartha, isn't it so, O friend? The river has many voices, very many voices. Hasn't it the voice of a king, and of a warrior, and of a bull, and of a bird of the night, and of a woman giving birth, and of a sighing man, and 1,000 other voices more? So it is, Vasudeva nodded. All voices of the creatures are in its voice. And do you know, Siddhartha continued, what word it speaks when you succeed in hearing all of its 10,000 voices at once? Happily, Vasudeva's face was smiling. He bent over to Siddhartha and spoke the holy Om into his ear. And this had been the very thing which Siddhartha had also been hearing. And time after time, his smile became more similar to the ferryman's, became almost just as bright, almost just as thoroughly glowing with bliss, just as shining out of 1,000 small wrinkles, just as alike to a child's, just as alike to an old man's. Many travelers, seeing the two ferrymen, thought they were brothers. Often they sat in the evening together by the bank on the log and said nothing, and both listened to the water, which was no water to them, but the voice of life, the voice of what exists, of what is eternally taking shape. And it happened from time to time that both, when listening to the river, thought of the same things, of a conversation from the day before yesterday, of one of their travelers, the face and fate of whom had occupied their thoughts, of death, of their childhood, and that they both in the same moment, when the river had been saying something good to them, looked at each other, both thinking precisely the same thing, both delighted about the same answer to the same question. Thanks so much for listening to that. I really hope to bring you more readings from books that I love and poems that I love. So keep in touch, and I hope you enjoyed that. Bye.